So today we are dabbling into making some kimchi. It's a Korean pickled cabbage, specifically Napa cabbage. Many people talk about its health benefits. What I have been studying and reading and watching, cabbage in Korea, according to my understanding, is almost every grandmother has her own recipe. And people try to one up between families, mine is better than yours. There are some true tested recipes that you can go and watch. What I will do today is a bit more generic recipe. Um, Not everybody lives in Korea, and not everybody has access to Korean stores around us. So, what we will try to do is figure out to do it with things which could be available in your regular supermarkets. What we start with cabbage. You'll see I have got 4 heads. Altogether, they are almost 6 pounds. The reason I bought as much as I did, when you're making an effort like that, just make it, then you'll have something to for some time for yourself and give to other people, friends, family, and share the love. You will make a base for it, which some people call it as a sauce, some others will call as gravy, whatever the name would be. That will remain the same. Everything else will remain the same. The one which is where the cabbage is cut into half seems to stay longer in the fridge. The other one happens quicker. What I will tell you is I do like my kimchi to be fermented, so I will try to ferment it for 7 days at room temperature. Most people will tell you when you see other people's way of doing it, they will tell you to put it in the fridge. Fair enough, that is they are not wrong about it. But I live in air conditioner control house, so my average temperature is 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So I really don't need to put that when it's fermenting in the fridge. But if you do live in regions where you don't have that luxury of air conditioning, I will recommend that you leave it out for 24 hours, but after that, do the rest of processing for another week or so in the fridge. So now we go to our cutting. What you do is, sorry, my hand is in the way. You cut the back. And you peel this out. Get rid of some of this section. On both of them. What you could do, you can take these middle ones out, they're very young, and make a kimchi that you can eat today. It's up to you. I do not know much about it, so I won't try to do it, but when you're making kimchi and you cannot eat that day, sometimes you feel like, oh, I have to wait for a week. So some grandparents or grandmoms in Korea, what they do is they pull the younger, you're going to call them the leaves out, the cabbage, the more yellow one, and they can make something that if you're making in the morning, you could have it with your dinner. So these were the ones which were sliced differently. With this, what we'll do is we'll chop these. And that's a very straightforward logic. Cut into half. Depending on the size you want, you can do in the quarters. So we're done with the chopping. Now we have to do salting. To do salting, there's no wrong or right way. What you're trying to do is put excessive salt in here. Don't use table salt. Kosher or rock salt is what you want. You don't need any added ingredients in your salt. So we salted this cabbage. This cabbage should sit for 10-12 hours. I'll try to get it done in 2 or 3. And what I'll do is I already have a little bit of water. I'll put salt in it. I'll make a brine, and I'll tell you the trick of the brine also. One thing which has to be remembered, don't use tap water if you live in a region where you get chlorinated tap water. Use distilled water or buy one of these gadgets which has some kind of a filter in it, and the water is clean. So I'll have some water. I'll add some salt. What's the trick for the salt? What you want is for the salt water to taste like ocean. People get into these habits of measuring everything. If too much salt in it, I'll add some more water. If there's not enough salt, I'll add some more salt. You want a stuff which tastes like what ocean water tastes like, a bit of salty water. That's it. I will pour all of this in here, massage it a bit, but massaging does not mean try to break anything. For a good measure, I'll just add a bit more salt on top. And now I'm done with this. So this has to sit for 2 to 3 hours. With the other one, it's a bit more straightforward. You take this, my container might not be big enough, but let's try to play with it. Again, over salt it. We will do a bit of water, but what I've realized that the cut version tends to cure quicker. Now what we will make is what's called gravy. You can use rice for it, really rice powder. I didn't have any. You can use flour, or you can use starch from potatoes. They all work the same way. I have rice but not a powder, so I'll just crush it to make a coarse powder. I've got water boiling over there. So I'll add this. I might need more rice. I think, yeah, I do. So let me whisk this. So we'll really bring it to that consistency of gravy, toward the thicker side. But I do need more water. Sorry, more rice. That's why I lowered the heat, and I'll keep on whisking for a few minutes. Still a bit runny, but as it cooks down a bit, let me increase the heat towards almost middle. So I have garlic, ginger, onion, a pear. That's for sweetness. People typically say use the Asian pear. I didn't have it. It will do what we needed it to bring that bit of sweetness. Coming back, how does our gravy look? It is thickening, and I think now I need to keep on whisking it else. Okay, so as this happens, I have to prepare for two things. One is I have to crush some things, then I have to chop some things. So what I'm chopping, a green onion from outside, roughly chopped like this. So now we have some wet ingredients. Some I've already chopped. Carrots, I peel one, I have to peel the other one. I'll dice them. Daikon, also known as mooli. It's still the same family, but the difference is they say this is the Korean version, and they said this is the Chinese or Japanese version. In Pakistan also they have this kind. They always recommend to do this one. What I'll do is I'll use half and half of both. Why? Because I like the flavor of both. To the point, something which I've done, which the traditionalists might not and will cringe what I'm about to say right now. I've added fresh apples also. It gives me that sweetness that I'm looking for. Not crushed, like julienne or some other style that you can enjoy it. So let me chop all of this. By that time, hopefully, the gravy would have cooled down a bit. We'll mix all of this together, but we'll still have to wait for another few hours for our cabbage, which is being cured. Okay, so the chopping is being done. The two different kinds of radishes, the Korean kind and the Chinese kind or the Pakistani kind, uh, two carrots. What we will do is, now this is a bit warm, not hot, but everything will be mixed in it. The rice powder paste what we made. Now what's going in my blender? Pear, again for some sugar, onion, for sweetness again, ginger, garlic, and that's it. Everything else will be thrown straight in there. We have some spices which will go in there, some sauces which will go in there, so we'll discuss that. A little bit of water. And sorry about the noise. Now we run the grinder, the blender. This is good. Mix it in here. This is what I was saying earlier, that if your gravy is a bit thick, don't worry too much, because when we add these ingredients, it will thin it up. So that's mixed. So what I'm about to put here, hot pepper flakes, I'll add some. And I will try to make it spicy. I have powdered hot pepper or chili. This is from Pakistan, called Kashmiri chili. I'll add that. And then today, I bought some chili which has originated in China, and all it's saying is red pepper or chili red crushed. So I'll add some of that. Do remember, a ferment process will happen. So whatever you taste today, which will be the flavor, as it ferments, it miles down a bit. I'll add a little bit of sugar, just so the ferment starts. I'm not really trying to make it sweet, just a spoonful kind of a thing. White sugar. You can let this go, but I think it helps in that fermentation process. Mix all these things. Generally, when you read about it or you watch any videos, they talk about shrimp sauce, I think they call it, which has small shrimps in it. I was not able to find it, but these are dried shrimps, and I think they will work the same logic. This is done to bring that umami flavor. This should be good. And once I mix everything, I'll taste it, and if I need something more, I'll add it. I'll add a little bit of soya sauce, again for the umami, and this is low salt. Because the reason is I'm not trying to make it salty. I just want to make it umami. Then fish sauce. Fish sauce and the shrimps are the magic. And just remember one thing, it will not make it fishy, because as it ferments, the flavor changes. So what I'm trying to do, a cup or so? I should have opened the top and done that way, but okay. No, not anywhere close. And as I said, I'll taste it so I can always add more things. And a bit of oyster sauce. Again, a little bit of umami. One thing which I learned and helps a lot. If you can acquire, this is not the right bottle, acquire some pickled young ginger, just throwing some in. So let's do a taste test over here. I can go put more pepper. And I think more fish sauce can happen also. Now I'll give you a magic ingredient. Not promoting a brand, but when I made my kimchi last time, I used something which is Trader Joe sells this. This is umami flavor. This is mushroom based. So if you want to do something vegan, you can take the shrimp and the fish sauce out and add this. A little bit of this for that extra oomph. Okay, so over 3 hours have gone. Somebody will say, why waste that much time? You can buy it at your local grocery store or at a market for not that much money. Now, let's come and see. So these were the ones which were quarters. I do not remember how much you would have remembered how high it was, but if you even rewind back, you do know the water, you could not see the water. Now you can see the water, which means that they have gone lower. But if I have to show you, they were around this high, inch, roughly half an inch to an inch lower. Right now, they are about 3 to 4 inches. In kimchi making, this is the most important step. You can forget a spice. It would not mess up your flavor. But what I'm about to do now, if you don't do that right, you have a major problem. So what did we do? Remember, we put a lot of salt. That salt has to be washed off. So we'll start washing off the salt. By the way, since you're looking at it, the jars have already been washed. Even they were store-bought in the box. I always believe in washing things like that. And my reasons are simple, because in fermentation, you do not want any outside matter into whatever you're putting in. So let's start. Now do a taste test. Let's do from somewhere inside. Nope. I don't taste as much salt. So I'll leave this over here and I'll keep on doing this now. The cabbage, which was done in fours, that's washed. I already have my greens in here. The issue was, I think I mentioned, I don't have big enough pot, so I needed that pot that was used for cabbage. Let's mix everything. I'm not sure if I will be able to put all my liquid in here, but let's see. Every day is doing and learning. This was the time when I put my hand inside. That's where you put gloves on. And put some industrial scent gloves on. This is where we'll do our final taste test. Because if something is wrong, which hopefully wrong would be that there's a bit of less of some flavor, so we can fix it. Hopefully the wrong would not be something is too much. So a bit of radish, carrot, and whatever green I found. A bit on the spicy side. Oh yes, I can taste the fishiness right now, but give it a week, it won't be. Now, the next step, which is important. You're doing the same thing what you did for salt. Each part of cabbage, you gotta open up and just fill it in. Don't worry about the liquid you have right now or not. The more liquid you have, the better. The reason being, it will become something that's fermenting. So now, I'm generally done. If you go around and do this kind of a thing, and then this, it will keep it together as it ferments. So, don't press it too much, massage a bit more. I'll show you one more, and after that we'll get to the other cabbage, and from there the next step will be putting in our bottles. You don't have to have bottles. Any plasticware, it can go in there. Don't use metal. So that's it. So let me finish doing this. So I fill 3 jars. All I'm trying to do is just push them down. When you do that rollover method with the quarters, these jars work, but if you have bigger hands, to go in becomes an issue. So a tip would be, instead use a plastic container which is flatter and just lay it down and add everything together. I'll show you. I intentionally wanted to finish those off camera, but I want to show you the pain that can happen. So this is what I did. Now just to do this. Well, this one was easier, it's not that thick. So it went in easily, but some of them were bigger, and to push with my hand, and I do not have too big of hands, it was a problem. So till now, I actually wiped these ones. I have not wiped these yet. I will, and after wiping, after the lids, I'll wash everything. The size you see is half a gallon. So we have filled, on technicality, 5.5. This still has some space. Found some other jars, and these are 3 cups. So what I'm trying to do now from here is finish these 2, fill this with this. So I'll mix the 2 kinds together. It doesn't make a difference. And after that, if other spaces are left, I'll do that. So let's do this. So if you're using mason jars, always wipe the top. Clean as much possible. Make sure the liquid is higher than the solids, just like this. And when the fermentation, that what I'm planning to do for almost a week, this is very important. Stop here. Because carbon dioxide is about to happen in the next few days, in a week. If you have it tight right now, this will be a lot of mess wherever you put it. So as I said, I already did 3 gallons over here. Last bit I'm doing is this 3 cup jar. Just wash it from the 6 pound of cabbage and all other things. We got 3 gallons and 3 cups. So not 24 hours yet, but these were the 4 jars you filled yesterday. If you want to look at it, at the bottom, you'll see a bit of liquid, but the top is a bit dry. This is the whole thing about fermentation. So what you're trying to do is the solids have to go lower than the liquids. You can find anything, whatever. Right now, I could not find the whatever I was looking for. This is a pin to roll bread. You can use it. Anything. A wooden spoon would have worked. Anything. What you're trying to do. So this is the point. Again, if my camera comes closer, you're pushing this lower. And if you look over here where my finger is, there are bubbles which are happening. So in 24 hours, bubbles have already started happening. I'm doing this today. So, okay, now suddenly, before where we started and where we are, the liquid is a bit higher. The right way to do would be to do this every 24 hours. But if you're lazy about it, every 2 days is fine. Make sure that the lid you put on it is not tight, so the carbon dioxide can come out. So you already saw after day 1 what the kimchi looked like. This is after almost day 10. So what I've done is I wanted it to ferment on room temperature. And as I said, that I do live in a household that 70 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature, so you can do it. If you live in a hotter environment, use the refrigerator. So if my camera comes closer, this is what it looks like. So a matter of taste test now. It's a mix of everything, so let's try. It has more sour notes. The sweetness does come through, but it could have been spicier. But overall, it's a very good flavor. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you meet us next week. Do subscribe to our channel and like this video.